From grassroots administration to the helm of India's digital governance, Abhishek Singh has charted a remarkable path as a visionary public servant. Starting as an accomplished officer of the Indian Administrative Service, he has shaped policy and delivered impact across sectors, from rural infrastructure and disaster response to education, healthcare, and urban reform. In 2025, he was entrusted with one of the nation's most pivotal digital roles, Director General of the National Informatics Centre, while also serving as Additional Secretary at the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. In his current roles, he spearheads efforts to build India's AI ecosystem, including development of compute infrastructure, datasets, homegrown models, and AI governance frameworks. His work ensures that innovation isn't just cutting edge, but inclusive, secure, and accessible to all. At the heart of his vision lies a uniquely Indian digital future, one that is built not only on adoption of global AI models, but development of indigenous AI solutions that reflect India's linguistic, cultural, and governance diversity. Through bold leadership, he is building the infrastructure and ethics for a digital nation, where technology strengthens democracy, drives innovation, and leaves no citizen behind. In February next year, he will play a central role at the flagship IndiaAI Impact Summit in New Delhi, an event that will be inaugurated by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, underscoring the national priority and momentum behind India's AI mission.
Thank you. It's indeed an honor and privilege to be speaking at this pre-event of the IndiaAI Impact Summit, being hosted by our Consulate General of India, Shikhar Reddy, and with the distinguished presence of our keynote speakers, Vinod Khosla ji, Vinod Dham ji, then our Deputy Chief of Mission who has flown in from DC, the tech leaders who are present here today from across industry, startup. This is the place where things happen, and it's always an honor and privilege to be at this in the Silicon Valley and get to learn about what is possible. We just heard the scintillating talk by Mr. Vinod Khosla, in which he kind of outlined his vision of AI and what all we can do, what all AI can do for the global world, what all AI can do for India per se. So what I would focus on today is briefly on that, because most of the possibilities from education, healthcare, services, and creating jobs in the AI economy, when some of the jobs will be impacted, has been beautifully outlined by Mr. Khosla. But I will briefly mention about what we are doing in India and give kind of an overview of what we are planning for the Impact Summit that we are hosting in February of next year. So if you look at India, today we are recognized as the world's fastest growing economy, and in fact, the last quarter results just came out and we were growing at the rate of 8.2%. And what we see is that we are growing at a rapid pace. Currently we are at around $4 trillion economy. We aspire to grow up to a $30 trillion economy by 2047. That will help us reach a developed country status, Viksit Bharat, as our Honorable Prime Minister speaks about. And I will just mention about how technology and how AI can be a big enabler in this growth. If we look at global growth rates also, consistently, but for the COVID and but for a few shocks, we have been growing at a rapid pace, much faster than any of the other major economies. And a part of this growth has been contributed in the last few years by the digital public infrastructure that we have built. And the DPI stack, the India stack as we call it, primarily consisting of the identity layer with Aadhaar, with 1.4 billion Aadhaar, with the UPI layer, which ensures that we do almost 50% of the digital payment transactions globally, or the data empowerment layer, the paperless layer, with a product like DigiLocker, which allows seamless exchange of documents and information with almost 600 million users, 10 billion documents. So all of it is laid the basic foundations for us to leverage technology, leverage AI, and move to the next level. The numbers are like mind-boggling. Of course, we are a large country, but without adopting technology to power services, whether it's education, healthcare, we would not have had the foundation on which we are trying to build up our AI layer over it. So, and now this digital public infrastructure has been recognized globally about how different countries are also looking at adopting similar solutions for their own countries. Like, for example, around 27 countries are building Aadhaar-based solutions like what we have done. Even countries like UK are looking at a DigiLocker kind of solutions. So both in the global south and many countries which are kind of developed and advanced, they are also looking at how technology has empowered India, and we are kind of trying to make it available for other countries as one of the outcomes that we had after the G20 summit that we hosted 2 years back. So now when we look at AI, of course, a lot of it was outlined by Mr. Khosla, but we look at AI to help turbocharge our digital public infrastructure. In fact, I look at it as like with the power of AI, we can ensure that the reach and access of our services under India stack, whether it's healthcare, agriculture, education, it can reach to many more people by enabling services in all Indian languages and by enabling voice-enabled services. So what we are looking at is that in India's digital ecosystem, today we very often say that 900 million people are connected and they are online and they are benefiting from that. But with AI, we have the potential of connecting the remaining 500 million people. Because we are 1.4 billion people, and many of these people in the rural areas, farmers and all, they struggle to go to a website or to an app or access services, because entering information in their mother tongue on a website or an app is not easy for somebody who's not very tech savvy. But if the same service was available through an AI-enabled engine, in which he can ask, like, where do I get my fertilizers, what pesticides I should use, where I should sell my produce, or somebody trying to get basic information about healthcare, like what to do if a child is suffering from diarrhea, or where to get for basic help, or a small business or a retailer using AI to optimize his operations, reduce his costs, increase his income. So if all of it is made available, then AI can really contribute, bring in efficiency, productivity in every sector of the economy, and that can help us move fast forward. Our coders, as he mentioned, like we do have a huge risk, because today the advantage that we had in the last so many years was that we had the cognitive skills with which we enabled the IT and ITS sector and solved global problems, whether in the financial sectors, transportation sectors, and our IT companies and IT professionals provided these services to the whole world. But today, that skill, the cognitive skill for building products and services by using technology, is being challenged by the AI bots. So how do we compete with the $20 bot, which is doing things more efficiently? To do this, we'll have to ensure that we empower our software professionals, developers, coders, students in almost every sector with AI skills, so that they can provide these services much better, from what he mentioned about AI transformation services. So that's the opportunity that we have. We can create, there are reports which say that it can create almost 5 million new jobs. It can contribute almost $1 trillion to our economy, to our digital economy, and it will ultimately help government become more efficient and more transparent. Because very often what we find in every sector, because of a lot of subjectivity, because of a lot of government not being able to offer efficient services, a lot of growth is blocked, a lot of growth is locked. If we can bring in that, if we can make our courts more efficient with AI-based legal services, if we can make decision-making much faster, much more efficient, much more objective, it can really help our entrepreneurs, our builders of the new economy move very, very fast forward, and can result in a lot of efficiency and productivity gains. So with this in objective, what we did, like the IndiaAI mission, which was approved by the government last year, which we, in March of 24, it kind of focused on that, what can the government do to ensure that we are able to realize our AI potential? Because it was felt that while we do have the talent and we do have the expertise and we do have people who have the skills to build AI products and services, but there's something that is ensuring that we are lagging much, much behind China and the US, and the delta is too huge to cover. So for that, we tried to identify, we did consultations with industry, with academia, with the researchers, with AI stakeholders, and we realized that there are several bottlenecks. Like the amount of money that we spend for R&D was much, much lesser compared to what China and the US do. The availability of compute was a big bottleneck, because till last year we had only about 600 odd GPUs that was available for our entire ecosystem. Then the amount of funding that was required for startups and all that was like a big, big limiting factor. So to address these gaps, the AI mission was conceptualized, and the government assured funding from all the verticals. There's 7-pillar strategy that we have. So briefly, I will touch upon that. So idea was to make compute available and accessible to those who need it. So we did a very interesting private sector-led incentive mechanism for setting up compute infrastructure. And today we do have almost 40,000 GPUs, much lesser compared to the AI factories that are coming up world over, but at least 40,000 GPUs are available at a much, much lower cost. Government underwrites almost 40% of the compute cost. So those who need it, they are able to get it at around 65 rupees, which is less than $1 per GPU per hour, compared to the global prices of $2.5. And then we also realized that while there are a lot of foundation models, LLMs, which have been built in the US and now, of course, open source solutions in China, but India did not have an LLM of its own. So we do aspire and we do believe that we have the capability of doing so. So we are funding almost 12 such initiatives for building Indian LLMs and SLMs in various sectors like healthcare and material science and the rest. So we do believe that two initiatives, especially the one led by Sarvam and one led by Bharat Jain in IIT Bombay, they are at very almost near, and before the summit that we're hosting in February, we should be able to announce an Indian LLM, which will be primarily a voice-based LLM, which will be able to provide services which I was referring to farmers and to retailers and to students and to people needing healthcare. Then we have also, like, one other bottleneck that was observed was that even though we are a large country and we have done a lot of digitization over the years, but one key problem that all AI stakeholders felt, that access to data. So we are setting up a datasets platform, AIKosh, because data is like inherent. Other than compute and talent, without data, you can't build AI applications and models. So we have set up India datasets platform called AIKosh, which has got, like, today 3,500 datasets from both public sector and private sector, and it's kind of being ramped up as we speak. And we do believe that this will become like one place which will help entrepreneurs and researchers to train models and to build AI applications. Then we also launched an application development initiative so that we can identify certain applications which can be scaled up across country, especially in education, in climate change, in agriculture, in healthcare, in governance. So we do have around 30 applications that we are currently working with the state governments and government of India departments to scale them up and to deploy that. For example, an AI assistant for farmers, an AI tool for diagnosing tuberculosis, cataract, diabetic retinopathy, because very often we do have machines, X-ray machines and radiology machines in the rural areas, but sometimes we don't have qualified radiologists and doctors. So that problem can easily be solved with significant level of accuracy by the AI machines and AI bots. That's currently being done. Then we have a future skills program, because what we do believe is that even though we do have the talent advantage, but if we don't invest in talent enough, we will be losing that advantage. So we are providing funding support for research, for AI projects at undergrad, postgrad, and research level. So that's currently happening. We also are setting up data labs across the country, because we do need to train people to become data scientists, to data annotators, data analysts, because those jobs are also being created. So especially the ITIs and the polytechnics, therein we are trying to produce data scientists and data annotators so that they can take up those jobs. We do have a safe and trusted pillar, because it's all, whenever we talk of AI, it's always also accompanied by that, how do we ensure that we do have the capacity to ensure that all AI applications are safe, are trustworthy, are responsible, conform to the ethical principles. So under the safe and trustworthy pillar, we have set up an AI Safety Institute, and we are part of the global network of safety institutes, wherein we are developing tools for bias mitigation, for ethical AI certification, for privacy preservation, for machine learning, for detecting deep fakes, for labeling AI-generated content. So that we are working with research institutions to develop such tools, which will be available as a global, as a AI commons for the entire ecosystem. Then we have a startup financing pillar, in which we are working with VCs and funds to come out with a fund of funds model, wherein we will be able to co-invest in the startups. So the idea is that identified funds will be identifying the AI startups in which they will be investing, and the government will just match the investment at the valuation levels that has been arrived at. So the actual task of identification and working out the levels will be done by experts, and we will kind of just supporting that effort so that the funding is made available to startups when they need the most. So there's a brief background about what all we are doing under the AI mission. So I will now quickly come to the Impact Summit, and a lot of it will be showcased when we host the summit in February 2026. And I'll just quickly go through about the various components and what all is happening, because we are getting a lot of queries and a lot of interest from all over with regard to participation in the summit. So as many of you would be aware, this summit is a series of summits that started in Bletchley Park in November 23, and there the summit was classified as AI Safety Summit. And there the focus was primarily on the risks that frontier AI models pose. And it was more focused on how do we mitigate the risks that come from frontier AI models. But as we move forward to the next summit last year in Korea, and onwards to the Action Summit that we co-hosted with France earlier this year, the focus has shifted from expanding the scope of these summits, like not only about the risks, but also talk about the opportunities, about innovation, about what all can do. And in fact, the Paris Summit highlighted several themes. They focused on governance, they focused on public interest AI, they focused on future of work, they focused on sustainability, and of course, the safe and trusted part. So taking into whatever has been done so far, we are trying to build on whatever has been achieved globally at the summit. So the objectives that we are hosting, the first time the summit has come from the global north to the global south to a developing country. So what we are trying to focus on is that how do we democratize access to AI? Because today, most of the AI that's being developed is limited to a very few countries and if I may say a few companies which are dominating the entire development of AI. How do we kind of ensure that the majority of the world does not end up only becoming AI users, how they can participate in the discourse with regard to how the technology is being developed? How do we support development of indigenous solutions, like the solution that we are building in India? Can it become more global? Can the countries of global south also be part of it? How do we build AI for good? How do we build these solutions for healthcare, education that can have replication in other countries also? Here we are taking a page out of the DPI playbook, wherein just like India stack is being looked at by so many countries for adopting, can we ensure that we add AI layer to the DPI and make it available for the larger world? And there India will have a huge role to play. And of course, work with the global community for developing the global standards with regard to regulating AI. And again, a lot of efforts are going on in this direction at various forums, at the UN High-Level Advisory Body on AI, at the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence. We are part of those forums, but again, those discussions happen at every such forum. So how do we ensure that we bring the voice of the Global South in that narrative when we are developing the frameworks for regulating AI? The summit numbers, of course, we are looking at huge participation, more than 100 countries, lots of CEOs have already confirmed, and we are looking at deliverables also at the summit so that it doesn't end up being a talking shop only. It ends up in coming out with some tangible outcomes and objectives and action plan that India and the rest of the world can work on together in the days to come. So the whole summit is like, of course, we are calling it the Impact Summit, and we are looking at, so one mantra is the impact, and we are looking at impact on 3 key pillars. The way it has been structured is that the 3 key pillars on which we are looking at the impact are people, planet, progress. The people pillar, of course, is the most important for a country like India, which has such a strong ITS sector, wherein we'll focus on how AI impacts jobs, how AI impacts employment, how the need for reskilling, upskilling, and how we can ensure that we can leverage it for our benefit and for the world's benefit in the days to come. So that will be the people part. The issues of inclusion will also be covered there. Then the planet is, of course, about making AI more sustainable, because we all know the amount of AI energy the AI is consuming. How do we build green data centers? How do we like earmark the renewable energy for AI compute? So that will be one part for making AI more sustainable and more efficient. But the other part will be like how we can use AI to address climate challenges, how AI can be used for predicting floods, for predicting extreme heat events, and even something like how AI can be used to make grids more efficient. How do we reduce power, energy transmission and distribution losses? We are already doing several projects in India in that direction. So the impact of AI on the planet will be a very key focus area. And of course, progress. Progress will have two dimensions. One is like AI for economic growth, in the sense that how it leads to productivity gains, efficiency gains. And the second dimension will be AI for social good, how it can help be used to expand access of services in healthcare, in agriculture, education. So those two dimensions will be there, both economic growth and social good. So that's the structuring that we have. And across these three pillars, we have 7 themes that we have taken up. There are 7 working groups which are chaired by India, and then we have 2 co-chairs from different countries, mainly one global north and one global south. So 14 countries are also part of these working groups. The themes are, of course, AI for economic growth and social good, democratizing AI resources, inclusion, then safe and trusted AI, human capital, of course, on the jobs and the people part, then resilience, innovation, and efficiency, which will focus on sustainability, and then science. Science has also been taken up, like how AI can be used for advancing drug discovery, for using in cutting-edge R&D. So these are 7 working groups, and these working groups have already started having their meetings, what we do hope is that these working groups will come out with the outcome statements and outcome documents, action plans, and this will ultimately flow into the declaration that will be adopted at the summit. So this is like the whole structure, like the working groups, as I mentioned, so their outcomes will go into the adopting the declaration at the summit. So these are the working group meetings which have already started. In fact, almost 60 countries and 20 international organizations have been part of the working group meetings that have already been held. We are looking at 3 virtual meetings and 1 hybrid meeting of the working groups. And then we have like several flagship events along with the working groups and the summit outcomes and declarations. We also launched 3 innovation challenges. An open innovation challenge, entries of it closed on 30th of November. And we have, like, there are 3 challenges. One is for open for the whole world. The second was only for women-led startups and women researchers, AI by her. And then we had a Yuva AI, which was focusing on young AI entrepreneurs and champions below the age of 21. So across these 3 innovation challenges, we have got almost 15,000 plus entries, and the best part is that the entries have come from 136 countries. So it's become truly global, and we are looking at a lot of participation from across the world for these challenges. And currently, of course, these entries are being evaluated, and the best will be presented at the summit. They will be invited. We will be like bearing the cost of the travel for all those who are selected there. They will be showcasing their solutions at the exhibition and presenting at the summit. Then we are also doing a research symposium in which we are getting top researchers from across the world to come and present their papers. Again, this will become like the academic input at the at the summit, in addition to the political statements that will be made. So that the research symposium here also, like, we also had a focus area especially for researchers from the global south. Like, we are having a global south showcase. So therein, in fact, we have got almost 250 entries from several countries across Africa, Asia, Latin America. So again, the focus of this whole summit around this innovation challenges and research symposium and other activities is not only make it a meeting point for usual conference visitors, but kind of involve the larger community into the AI discourse. Then we are also coming up, we are partnering with several international bodies for coming up compendiums on key issues. Like with WHO, we are producing a casebook on AI health use cases in the global south. With the International Energy Agency, we are trying to document the best practices and how AI, more efficient AI, how more sustainable AI can be built in. With UN Women, we are trying to create a compendium for AI use cases for women empowerment. Then with Food and Agriculture Organization, we are trying to build up a casebook on AI use cases in agriculture. Similarly, with several entities, especially with AIKosh Foundation in India, we are trying to build up a compendium for AI use cases in education, then AI use cases in accessibility. Then we are also working with NITI Aayog to get a global tech leaders vision and what lies ahead. And also Yoshua Bengio, who started with the International AI Safety Report at the Bletchley Park Summit, and he followed up with the State of Science report at the Korea Summit and the Paris Summit. So that report is also currently under development. It's an international group of researchers who are coming ahead, and Yoshua Bengio will be presenting the State of Science report at the Impact Summit in February. And then we also have an exhibition in which, an expo in which we'll be showcasing the best of AI technology, wherein countries, companies, industry, startups will be presenting their solutions. A huge expo has been planned, and we will be having exhibitors from across the world who will be showcasing their AI solutions at the summit. Then the overview of the entire summit, of course, the main summit is on 19th and 20th, which will have the expo and opening ceremony and the leaders plenary and the CEO roundtable and panel discussions roundtables. But that whole week of February, we'll have lots of events, 16th, 17th, 18th, these innovation challenge presentations, research symposium, industry sessions, all will be happening during the summit. And then we also have in India, we are doing 7 regional conferences, and we are doing lots of pre-events, and the working group meetings, hybrid events will be organized across India. And across the world also, a lot of pre-events are happening, like the one that's happening here today, and the similar has been done at several countries across the world. So pre-summit events, we have done in 20+ countries, including countries in Africa, in Argentina, in South America, all over. Within India, we have gone to almost 60+ cities with participation of almost 100,000 people in various events that have happened so far. Some of the snapshots of the events that have happened, I'll quickly run through these. And these are happening, and we are getting a lot of interest from not only industry, startups, researchers, but also civil society organizations with regard to key issues that the summit should address. So like the effort is to make the summit truly inclusive and truly participative from all the key stakeholders that are there. This event, I think, happened in New York during the UNGA General Assembly. Nairobi, Barcelona, several places, all over India, in Geneva, in Cape Town. Then, of course, Delhi, many events. Across universities, a lot of events are happening, pre-summit events. And these are the international events. We did an event at the International IGF, the Internet Governance Forum, at the COP30, at the UNGA, at the Global DPI Summit in Cape Town, the GPay event, and the World Economic Forum. At the Davos also, there will be an event. And there are a lot of partners who are also hosting events, universities, colleges, so kind of getting the inputs from all key stakeholders for the summit. And as I mentioned, regional group meetings and working group meetings have been planned across the country so that we actually involve everyone in the planning of the summit. The key deliverables, what are we trying to achieve as per the outcomes of the working group meetings? In brief, we are trying to create a charter for democratizing AI resources, like how we can democratize access to compute, datasets, algorithms for the larger global world. How we can create an AI commons repository. AI commons repository will include use cases for AI which can be open source, which can be made available for the larger global community, the reskilling principles, competency frameworks at various levels, what all courses that can be made available. So that's also something that we are trying to work on. Then a playbook for equitable workplace transition. That's again something that the Human Capital Working Group is trying to build in. Then framework for capacity building in public sector, because that's again a problem area that we have, that we are working with at the working group to develop that framework. Then AI for Science Network, a global network for use of AI in science. Then AI Impact Awards also we are trying to institute, which will become an annual award. Then AI Safety Commons, all these tools for bias mitigation, ethical AI certification, can it be created into a repository and made available as a digital public good? Then AI governance and safety, the guidance note. Then commitments on frontier model usage. This is something that we are trying to work with the companies that are developing the frontier AI models, and we are trying to get them give a commitment that they will share the usage data of the models in various countries with sovereign governments. So that if India people are using a ChatGPT or a Claude or any of these frontier models, then as government we should know what is being used for. Are the software coders using it, or are the creators using it, so that we can align our reskilling strategy based on that. Then of course, Global Alliance for Advancing Inclusion. Inclusion is a big theme. Then framework for resilient, efficient AI, and principles of, so these are currently being developed as deliverables that will come out to the summit. Of course, these are at the negotiation stage. We are discussing with at the working group. Experts are contributing to that. So if there are any stakeholders here who feel strongly about any of these deliverables and want to give your suggestions, ideas, that will be most welcome. The summit week, of course, it will begin, in fact, on the Sunday of the week, we are also doing a AI for the creator economy, in which there will be a culture day in which we'll be showcasing, and that's going to be a public event. Those of you who have been to Delhi, the Central Park at Connaught Place will host this session, which will have a space for showcasing solutions for usage of AI in animation, in filmmaking, in music, in fine arts, in literature, in poetry. So that will be showcased, and it will be like an open event, like a lit fest, in which showing AI usage in the creator economy will be there. So, so this will be like a very interesting area. We are getting a lot of interest from various people who are using AI. In fact, I was surprised to get interest from several music bands who have built AI bands. So we also have created so in the evening, we'll have an amphitheater in which AI bands will be performing. So that will be there. Then we have lots of sessions which have been planned on 16th to 18th with regard to panel discussions, keynote sessions, launches of compendiums, the innovation challenges. 19th and 20th I've already mentioned. The expo visit will be there, the opening ceremony will be there, the leaders plenary, then the CEO roundtable, and the panel discussions will also be there. We have got lots of confirmation. Some of it is showcased here. A lot of tech leaders, the heads of government, around 15 heads of government, and almost 50 CEOs we are expecting. So some of the names are showed here, which includes prominent names in the tech world, and I'm sure we'll be getting many more names today. In fact, we did get to hear that Mr. Vinod Dham and Vinod Khosla will also be attending. So again, this will ensure that all the key people across domains come there. More information is available on our website, impact.indiaai.gov.in. You can scan this QR code to get more information about the summit. So that's all that I wanted to share today. And yeah, thank you.